a meal deal at Tesco's, even if it is £3, it's £3 a day. That's 3, 6, 9, 10. What? Oh, that's pretty good. I'm quite proud of that. There's plenty of people with lots of money. There's not lots of people with plenty of money. Oh, I like that. I've probably heard it from someone else and I'm stolen it without realising, but that, pucker. You will not get bored of eating that. That has probably cost us less than, I want to say £2. Even if you just get a Tesco meal deal, which is, I think they've just put that up as well, that's £3.75 now, I think, or probably, it's probably like £3, it's probably like £2.50 if you've got a club card, and 37 quid if you haven't got a club card. Man's got bants in it. Maybe I should do all this prep work before I hit the camera go button. Camera go button, technical term. This doesn't make for the best of viewing, does it? Really? Me faffing in the kitchen. Well, that's probably still dry. Sorry, I'll be with you in a minute. Yeah, looks like it's steady. Right. So, everyone's kind of feeling the punch. The punch? That's not right. The pinch a bit at the moment. Cost of living crisis. Credit crunch and all that. Credit crunch, that's credit crunch was like 2008, wasn't it? No, not that. Just the cost of living crisis. Everything's going up. No one's got any money. One way of saving a little bit of money, and every little helps. I'm not endorsing Asda. Every little helps is Asda, isn't it? Instead of, especially if you work in London, up the city, taking packed lunch with you instead of paying, even if you just get a Tesco meal deal, which is, I think they've just put that up as well. That's £3.75 now, I think, or probably, it's probably like £3, it's probably like £2.50 if you've got a club card, and 37 quid if you haven't got a club card. Yeah, so make yourself a packed lunch, save yourself a bit of money. Sandwiches get boring. So, another cheap lunch you can make, and you can bulk make it ahead of time. Pasta salad. Kilo bag of pasta. I had a look, I just had to go get some bits from Lidl. If you go to Lidl, pretty much anywhere really, the cheap pasta, you get a kilo bag of the stuff for like 30p, 40p. And the cheap stuff is actually what you want for this. I mean, I can quickly show an example. Oh, can I reach that? Oh, without knocking a load of stuff over. So, if you buy the cheaper pastas, which there's nothing wrong with, you get pastas like a bit more smoother and plasticky. It's because they've been extruded with plastic or steel dyes. Whereas more expensive pastas look, you see, I ain't gonna open this, but they look dusty almost, and they're rougher in texture. What that means is, as you cook the higher quality pasta, the rougher pasta, you get more starch in the water, which is what you want if you're making like a cacio e pepe, a carbonara, aglio e olio. You need that pasta starch in the water because you use that to form the sauce and give it body. But for pasta salad, you don't want that, because what you want is this pasta to all stay individual. This is cooked, obviously. You don't want it to stick and clump together. So the cheaper pasta is actually better for this. So, and the other good thing of this as well is, I've got some onions left over and some peppers left over from shakshuka we made last week. I've got a fennel in the fridge, fennel bulb in the fridge that came from something, I can't remember. A jar of olives. You can use up loads of bits and pieces and get hold of some fresh herbs, grow some fresh herbs. Use up all the little bits of fresh stuff that you've got. If you've got, I'm going to make this a vegetarian one, because I don't think every meal needs to contain meat, and I don't think this needs meat to taste nice. But if you want to do a tuna mayo one, tuna, sweet corn and onion, you do that. You can chuck some ham for it. You put whatever you want in it, use up whatever you want. Few rules to begin with though. I'm going to make one big batch of this, stick it in the fridge, portion it out. If you've got enough Tupperware, you can do 5 portions for the entire week now. But don't put anything in there now when we're making this that's crispy, like fresh pepper's crispy and it's going to stay crispy. But things like croutons, bacon bits, crispy onion, fried crispy onion bits, nuts, anything like that, if you put it in now, it's going to absorb moisture off of everything else and not be crunchy. So add that in a little separate container and put it in when you're about to eat it. Another sort of thing is salt. Normally you want to season the whole way as you're going through. What you don't want to do with a pasta salad is put a load of salt in it. What's better is to put in salty ingredients like olives, anchovies, Parmesan cheese, things like that. Because if you just put salt in here, it's essentially like when we made kimchi or when we've made sauerkraut. That salt's going to draw moisture out of all of these other ingredients and start to cure them almost. And you're going to end up with a puddle of water at the bottom of your pasta salad, and all of these things are going to have been dried out and all the water's going to be sucked out of them by the salt. So instead of putting salt in the pasta, cook your pasta in salt like you would normally, maybe a bit more salt than you would normally, just so it's already more heavily seasoned than it would normally be. And chuck in some salty things like olives or capers or things like that that are naturally, or not necessarily naturally salty, but are in and of themselves already quite salty. So what we got here, this isn't quite a kilo, but you can cook the whole big bag of pasta. It's essentially however much pasta you can cook and are going to eat throughout the week, cook. Stick it in a nice big bowl. Now everything else I'm just going to chuck straight in. So I've already got some sliced up bits of pepper. Now kind of like, obviously we're not going to cook this, but what you want to do is make sure everything's the same size. Normally we want to make sure everything's the same size so it cooks at the same speed. But in this instance, we want everything, the pasta, about the same size as the pasta, because that's a mouthful. We're not going to go through and start cutting up the pasta, are we? We're going to also, you can use spaghetti and things like that if you want to be a bit weird, but penne, fusilli, conchiglie, rigatoni, the more individual pasta pieces are going to be your friends for this. So, and then everything else you want to be in and about the round same sort of size as the pasta. Okay? Obviously you haven't got to be super scientific about it. And you can also use whatever you want. So I've got peppers to use up, so I'm going to use up some peppers. I've got a fennel that I want to use up. I'm going to put in some fennel. What I would say as well is, this is kind of a balancing act. So we want something in there that's a bit sweet, pepper. We want something in there that's a bit, if not onion, I'm putting in red onion and maybe some spring onion as well, because I've got some spring onions to use. I'll see where we get. Something that's got that heat, spice, warmth that the onion brings, that, I don't know what the right term would be, the bite, the punch. And you're going to want something maybe spicy. If you want to put some chilli in there, you can put some chilli in here. Fresh chilies can be really nice, especially if you can get like artisanal, seasonal. That's the other big thing with this as well. What's in season? We're coming up now to a brilliant time of year for all this sort of stuff. Pepper, we can get everything all year round, but like I keep saying, if you shop seasonally, you do get better quality products. Coming in season soon, we've got fennel. We will have asparagus soon as well. Raw asparagus is quite nice in a pasta salad. Tell you what are handy is these sort of, they call them, if you go search for deli containers on Amazon or any other internet sort of thing. Nisbets, if you're looking for kitchen, not associated in any way. If you're looking for kitchen, cookware, storage, all that sort of stuff, Nisbets, nisbets.co.uk. They are good. But these deli containers are handy. So I think that's 500ml, that's maybe 300ml. They're stackable. There's all different sizes of them. I've even got big pint sort of size, well, they're more than a pint. But what's really cool about them, you don't have to go fumbling around to try and find the lid, because all of them are the same size at the top. they just get shorter. So you just have one big batch of lids and you just so handy to keep stuff in the fridge. Bit of tape, masking tape, right on them, what's in there, how long it's been in there. Right, where are we? Fennel. I would also say you want to get some fresh herbage in here as well, because it's nice. I'm going to peel the edge of that because I'm not going to waste a load of fennel. Here's my peeler. The trick with fennel is the outside of it can be a bit bruised and a bit not great to look at or to eat, but you don't want to peel the whole thing off. See how thick that is? That's a third of my bloody fennel I'd lose there. So if you just run a peeler along the outside of it, do this bit as well, you can save yourself a fair bit of fennel. Another thing that we can do is make a nice vegetable pasta salad like this, and say you have salmon on Tuesday night and you have a bit of salmon left over, you can put the salmon in there and have salmon pasta salad for Wednesday. And then say you've got some mackerel in a tin that you want to use up, and chuck that in there on the Wednesday, and you just use it up like that. So I've got a fair bit of red onion there. I don't want loads of onion in this, so I'm not going to use that red onion. I am going to use up some of these spring onions, just because they need using up. Again, perfect way of just using up bits and pieces that you've got sitting around that you don't want to see go to waste. Quite thin. Right, and the other match. Right, what I'm going to do with the onion though is a little trick. This is great for pasta salads. Anywhere where you want a raw onion, maybe like poke bowls, salads, just normal salads. Anywhere you want to chuck a bit of onion, fresh onion in there, because you want that bite and pepperiness of the onions. But what you don't want, I don't know why I just put all that in there, I'm just about to pour it out. You don't want that super acrid, acidic acridness of the onion. So obviously we're not going to cook the onion. That one way you could cook it, you could get rid of that, you could cook the onion, but then cooking the onion you're not going to have the crispness of the onion and the bite of the onion. So if we give them a good wash under cold water, especially after they've just been cut, it'll wash off a lot of the chemical that I forgot the name of in the onion, and it will just mellow them out a bit. It's not cooking them, but it's just mellowing them out. You can soak them in water as well and then drain them, dry them. That again is completely valid. Also a good way when you're going like this, you can break up all the individual bits of onion as well, so you don't end up with massive clumps. Right, just going to let them drain a bit there. Well, water is a bit of an enemy in this, because the water is going to break everything down and you end up with water at the end of everything instead of having like just the mayo coat and everything. You obviously don't want a dry pasta salad. I would argue you don't need to even put mayo. You can just dress that with olive oil and toss it together and it'll be very nice. But you want some sort of sauce in there, but you don't want a load of water in there. Right, so next thing we're going to get in there, so we've got fennel. That's going to give us a load of, like a really punch of like the fennel sort of flavour. Obviously if you don't like fennel, don't put fennel in there. You do kind of like fennel, but you don't want loads of, if you haven't got fennel to hand, you can put dill in there as a herb instead. The pepper's adding some crunch and some sweetness. You can obviously add a red pepper if you want even more sweetness. You can put some chilli in there, we haven't. Onion, we're going to get that peppery bite, zing, crunch. Now, I'm going to go in with a bit of, with some olives for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, I love olives, especially black olives. They're going to give us some sweetness and some saltiness. If you want to use green olives, Halkidiki olives, princess olives, they're going to bring more of a bitter note, but that's completely valid and up to you as well. Now, you could obviously chuck these in whole because they are bite-sized. I am just going to give them a little quick chop in half. Just A, make them go a bit further. B, just so we can get more distributed in the final product. You can chop that up even more if you wanted to, but quite easily overpower a load of stuff with olive. And for me, last but not least, I'm going to chuck in some herbage. Put some parsley here. I'm just going to rip off a handful of that and mince it up quite fine. Stalks are welcome to the party as well. Nothing wrong with the stalks. as long as they're not full-blown tree trunks. Other things you're gonna get peas, fresh peas, if they're fresh, quite nice. Mange too. You can be as thorough or as rustic as you like with your herbage. Same as with a salad, you don't want to go in here with rosemary. Thyme and oregano are probably gonna maybe get away with them if they're very fresh, but nothing woody. Sage, obviously, no. Fried sage leaves would probably be quite a nice little accoutrement to this, but again, like I said, with crispy and fried bits, you really want to leave that till the end and put it on as a dressing just before you eat it, not store it with it in there because it will stop being crispy. Right, so that's pretty much all of my ingredients in there. Nice big portion we got going on. Oh wait, no, our onions can go in there now as well. They've drained off a bit. If you kind of want to add the oniony sort of notes, but don't want to chuck in a load of onion, chives. You can add chives. Dressing. We are going to use mayo. I'm going to make a mustard mayo. So I like a pasta salad well sauced, but I don't want it swimming in mayo. I want the mayo to be the sauce, not the body of the pasta salad. And a bit of Dijon mustard to the party. Right. That taste. Boom. Right, and I'm also going to give juice of half a lemon on at the moment. I might add a bit more of that in a minute. Just gently fold that all together. Fold everything through everything. So yeah, we're not swimming in that mayonnaise. It's very much just a sauce that's coated everything. If you notice any big chunks of things like that, you can always use them as an excuse for taste testing. Right, all I'm going to do is that is give it a healthy peppering. Get a fork, have a taste. That, pucker. You will not get bored of eating that. I mean, you will eventually, but for a week. Or even if you just 3 days, then have a sandwich and then maybe treat yourself to a meal deal on Friday. But that probably costs us less than, I want to say £2. A pepper is going to be 30p. An onion, 30p. 30p for the pasta. I don't know how much, because I only use like a tablespoon of mustard, of mayo and a teaspoon of mustard, but you can get cheap mayos, you can get cheap mustards. I mean, if you average it out over the course of a month, you are saving. I mean, a meal deal at Tesco's, even if it is £3, it's £3 a day. That's 3, 6, 9, 10. What? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 quid a week. That's easy. That's 60 quid a month. That, I don't know about you, that's my internet. I've saved the cost of my internet bill just by not going to Tesco's every day of the week. And this is, I'm sorry and all, the pasta salads. I've said it about the potato salad we made and I've said it about the guacamole, but when it comes to pasta salads as well, this is just so much better than the crap you get in those little plastic cartons. If you want, buy yourself the plastic cartons. Make yourself feel like you got fucking meal deals. Buy yourself a little can of Panda Pop and taking a Snickers with you. A few little tips and tricks there are handy for if you do want to make pasta salad. Even if you don't use any of these ingredients. I mean, you kind of got to use the pasta, but cooking the pasta early, let it cool, rinse it, cook it. Normally you take it off when it's al dente because you're going to finish it in a sauce, so you're going to let it cook at its heat. You want to make sure it's almost completely fully cooked, like 10 seconds away from being fully cooked when you're cooking the pasta, because we're going to rinse it under cold water straight away to get that starch off. So you want to cook it a bit more. You don't want to turn it to mush, but you want to cook it more than you would probably normally do for a pasta meal. Running the onions under the tap to get rid of that super acrid acidity. There's just a few little tips and tricks there, like not over salting it or using salty ingredients instead, so that you end up with a well-seasoned dish. Those are things you can take away, even if you want to do a tomato pasta salad. Grating a parmesan in there as well would work really well. If you use some shavings of parmesan, if you've got it in the fridge, you can use it up. Parmesan's one of those things, it lasts forever in your fridge, so you probably always got a little bit. So, and like I said, this makes a good base. I'm going to eat that on Monday, say. Tuesday, I might chuck some tuna in with it. Wednesday, sod it, I'll have a sarnie on Wednesday, say. Then Thursday, oh, I've got some leftover salmon from Wednesday's dinner. Flake up the salmon, chuck that in there. It's a good base, like a carrier for anything else. Hit me up in the comments if you've got any questions or anything else you want to see done, or if you've got any tips and tricks as well for cheap lunches and pasta salads and ways to make your pantry last a little bit longer, because we're all tightening our belts at the moment. Well, not all of us. Some of the dickheads that run the country obviously haven't got to. There's plenty of people out there with lots of money, but unfortunately there's not lots of people with plenty of money. Oh, that's pretty good. I'm quite proud of that. There's plenty of people with lots of money, there's not lots of people with plenty of money. Oh, I like that. I've probably heard it from someone else and I'm stolen it without realising, but... Alright then. Like, comment and subscribe. All that jazz. Be good, if you can't be good, be lucky. Bob's your auntie. Bosh. And I'll see you when I see ya. Bye.